Welcome back. Now, Vodacom has posted strong growth across its key financial and operational metrics. Regional highlights for this period included local currency service revenue growth in Egypt, a stable performance in South Africa, and a strong recovery in its international business. Group CEO Shameel Joosub said the strong results reflect Vodacom's resilience and agility in a more stable macroeconomic and currency environment. He joins us now with more insight. Shameel, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. So quite a lot of news out of Vodacom in the lead up to the release of the financials. Initially, you flagged an earnings jump of between 40 and 45%. Then after the out of a court settlement announcement with Nkosana Makate, you revised those expectations, lowering growth to between 30 and 40%. So many of us have been trying to crunch down those numbers to get to the exact figure. So I'm going to try my luck here. Can you tell us how much that settlement was?
Unfortunately not. I think it's a confidential settlement. And I think just both parties are happy that, we've managed to finalize and be able to move forward.
And I can imagine the relief for the company finally, that coming to an end after what, almost 20 years?
Yes. So, I think for both parties, it's been a long road. And I think, now being able to move forward with the matter settled is important for both of us.
So local operations taking a hit on the back of that one-off cost. That aside, just take us through the performance playing out here at home. Beyond mobile and contract segments seem to be upbeat, but we are still seeing pressure in the prepaid unit. How are you faring in terms of market share on that front? I can imagine it's a tough market considering that consumers are cash conscious and you also have increased competitions from the likes of the NVNOs as well.
Yes, I think maybe first just to point out, a very important part for us on the strategy was making sure that we could diversify our revenue, both from a geographical lens and from a product lens. So that's actually coming through quite strongly. So very pleased with the results in that context. With the 32-33% growth in earnings, it's really played out quite nicely, and we're seeing the international markets, Egypt and Safaricom contributing very strongly to the results. On South Africa specifically, it has been a tougher economic backdrop, and I think that's been exacerbated by what you're seeing in online gambling, and it's taking out of the consumer wallet in that context. Of course, the contract segment remains more resilient. That's up 3.7%. The business segment was up 5%, so that's also been much more resilient. But the prepaid customer is where we felt this economic backdrop, if you like, playing through more strongly. And then, of course, what we have done is also the environment is more competitive. So we've improved a number of our offerings and given more value to customers in some cases, or in a lot of cases proactively, to make sure that we can hold on to our customers on the one side, but also hold on to what we call the active days. So, where customers are using more than one network to try and gain more share in that context.
And a lot of updates from the local market. Over the period, we also got the massive deal going through. What are the next steps from here, Shameel? Just walk us through the plans when it comes to network expansion and maybe your CapEx priorities when it comes to that business.
Yes, so I think, firstly, we're still waiting for the final approvals from ICASA, the regulator. We're hoping that will come through in the next week or so. And once that's done, then there'll be actually a funds flow. And once the funds is flown, then that will give the necessary impetus with the cash coming in to settle some of that debt, but also to have more funds to grow even faster. And the priority, we made a lot of commitments in terms of growing the fiber footprint.
Yeah.
And I think both from a fiber to the site perspective as well as fiber to the home and fiber to the business, the priority will be to try and grow that more, especially into what we would call, the townships and the rural areas and so on, so that you can grow more of the fiber footprint in South Africa. Today, 6.6 million homes passed in total in the market, and there's almost 17 million homes. So you can see a long road ahead in terms of trying to make sure that everybody has access to fiber going forward.
Yeah, a very important conversation there around addressing the digital divide in the country and the continent as a whole. And talking about the continent, you touched on it there, Egypt performing really well. How much of the continued growth is on the back of the rollout of 5G that took place over the period as well?
So we rolled out, a big rollout for us in 5G across the markets, of course, South Africa as well. But Egypt was new in 5G, so we've added over 2,000 sites already. And it's only a few months into the year, like 5 or 6 months since we launched 5G. So we're rapidly increasing the amount of 5G sites. Egypt and also the demand for data in that market remains strong. So 22% growth in traffic and a 46% growth in revenue. So, very, very important market for us. But we're also seeing strong growth in our international markets. We're seeing strong growth in Kenya and Ethiopia, and that's all playing through quite nicely for us.
And also driving the strong growth in your international business is that financial services unit making big contributions to your bottom line as well. And I'm wondering how you're positioning M-Pesa moving forward to drive deeper penetration in savings, lending, as well as merchant services.
So across the continent, and we're operating under 3 brands now: Vodacom in Egypt, Vodapay in South Africa, and then M-Pesa in the rest of the markets. And effectively, what we're seeing now is $477 billion of transactions that are going through our platforms. That's grown 13%. So that's like $1.3 billion of transactions every day. What's also been impressive is the customer growth. So we plan to grow 6 million customers this year. We've already grown 6 million customers in the first half. So 94 million customers of our 223 million customers now buying a fintech product from us. But the penetration is only at 42% of the base. So still a huge opportunity to grow more. And then, so one is growing the number of customers, and the second part is growing the number of services, to your point, which is the investment side's picking up quite nicely. So being able to invest as little as $1 or a rand, and then of course lending, merchants, invoice financing, ordering, a whole ecosystem of different products that we making available, and the countries are at different levels of maturity. So not all the countries have all the sophisticated products yet. Example would be Egypt, where we're still in the early stage. And so, it'll be a big growth vector for us as we go into this next period.
Yeah. All right, we have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time and just taking us through the 6 months that was for Vodacom. Now, that was Shameel Joosub, CEO of Vodacom.